Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Baron Broadcast. I'm your host, Kenny Graff. Unfortunately, my co-host, Juan Gonzalez, is not here today. He will be joining us in the latter half of this episode, but we're basically going to split this episode into two parts. One is just going to be going over our last game of the season against ONU, and the second part is going to be our history lesson. I'm going to call it this history episode just because we're going to go over some past people who have been a part of the program, learn a little bit more about the Franciscan Barons as a team, as a program, see where they came from, and obviously where we are today. We've talked a lot about the current team and not really about much of the past, but excited to talk about that today. But without further ado, let's just jump in. Let's go review some of the ONU game versus the Franciscan Barons, and after that, get into the history lesson. All right, here we are at the ONU game. This was played at Denison University, Denison College. I'm not really sure which one it is, but I'm sure I'll be corrected later. But again, this is a team that we were prepared to face. We knew it was going to be a good game. It was obviously the top 64 teams in the country are playing in the NCAA tournament, so obviously this is going to be some good competitors. I'm just going to show the first goal here with the actually only goal of this game. ONU was able to create an opportunity just basically building out of this kind of midfield space. A lot of the game I felt was played and won through the midfield. We'll look at the end of the game as well to a couple of opportunities, but good flick on there. He's going to take it himself. He's going to dribble past the stepping defender, pass it off to his teammate who's going to run, and just there's a lot of traffic. Far low post, the way ONU's been doing it for even when Coach Ridenour was there. Just the way they play, 1-0, only a couple minutes in the game, about 15 minutes in the game. Just an opportunity here to grow, to learn here, especially against a team like ONU. Yeah, and so just looking at the last couple minutes of this game, there were so many opportunities for us to win. A lot of back and forth the entire game. It was really lopsided at the beginning with ONU. Just a lot of pressure. That experience is just really came in handy for them at the beginning of this game. But as soon as, it just took Franciscan, our team, just to get acclimated a little bit too late. You can see it within the last, I'll just play the last minute 30 here, how many opportunities we potentially had to counter, to create something. Long balls played out, long balls played back in, just, was like last ditch efforts. You can see that everybody's sprinting, everybody's trying to get back, even, goalkeeper or Aiden getting involved. Let's watch this last little minute here. Trying to get anything we possibly can for our team. I was actually at this game. Juan was also at this game. I was only about 6-hour drive for me to get to here. Only about 2.5 hours from Franciscan's campus. But opportunity after opportunity at the last probably 10 minutes, just, shot after shot. And you see 40 seconds left of the game, 45 seconds left in the game here. Just again, want to just watch this last few minutes here. We're going to see basically what happens at the end is there's this opportunity where, I forget who heads the ball because it's been a little while, but somebody has the ball, and the ball just trickles past the keeper because the keeper lands on it wrong, and it pops out the back. And I think Lucas crosses there, but the defender smartly gets to the ball and creates, kick. He kicks the ball out and basically beats the defender. But so right here, basically, long ball up. I think Ryan touches it up. John Schreiner, header, keeper bounces back just right there. You can see there's 7 seconds left in the game. Everybody knows it. It was a corner kick given, but the whistle blew. Unfortunately, that's how the game ends. We were all in the crowd was standing there with our hand on our heads, just like in shock and awe. But it's like at the end of the game, we knew we had that opportunity to tie that game, and then if it had that momentum, would have 100% swung into overtime. I just want to shout out the seniors and fifth-year seniors on the team. You guys have been, what I've heard from the younger guys on the team, just amazing role models for this program. You've, definitely filled the shoes of the seniors before you, even then some. Like, you have set the standard even higher for the next generation of players to come through. Just want to congratulate you guys on an amazing season. Pack champions, they can't take that away from you. Just amazing men on and off the field. With that being said, I don't want to waste any more time here. It's already the longest episode we've ever done. I want to run the slide and talk about these two gentlemen who know this team probably better than anybody else, including the generations of players I was just talking about. So without further ado, let's run that slide and go check out who our guests are for this week. Alrighty, everybody. This is the guest appearance of Christian Bovac and Zephyrin Swope. Thank you guys so much for being here. We love to have you guys. This is going to be, again, the history episode. Who better than to have some historic icons of the Franciscan men's soccer team? Love to have you guys here today. Christian, I'm going to start with you just to introduce yourself, your background, things like that.
Sure, Kenny. It's honestly an honor to be here. I absolutely love the program, and to talk history about is like my favorite thing. So first of all, thanks for this podcast. I was like able to feel like I was part of the team this year. But I'm Christian Bovac. I originally from Buffalo, New York. Go Bills, go Josh Allen. I ended up going to Franciscan University. I played soccer my whole life. It was, to be honest with you, is like my most important thing, even before God. Like, I was just obsessed with sports, and all my siblings, I'm one of 10, and all my older siblings went to Franciscan, and I had a few opportunities to perhaps play elsewhere at these other colleges, a couple from being my hometown in Buffalo, but my parents really were kind of pushing me to go to Franciscan. And at the time, Franciscan had just started they had a club soccer team, but there was talk about getting into the NCAA. And so that was kind of like a big, like, I guess, exciting thing for me to be like, okay, I can still continue to play. Like, college is going to be fun. And so I took the jump and, played there. I can get into more details, but played there, met Zeph there at the same time. We joined the program at the same time, and played there actually got to play for 5 years, and then left for a little while. I moved down to Louisiana, got married, and moved back up to actually coach the program for 4 years with Zeph. So, we kind of came in at a unique time where we got to know kind of the beginnings, middles, and present of the program. And so it's an honor to be here.
That's awesome. I was going to say, how long was that gap in between your playing and in that coaching?
It's 4 years.
So I played 5, off 4, and then coached 4.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, and during those 4 years, I had a brother on the team, so I felt like I was like, locked in still to the team, even in those 4 gap years, and so it was really kind of my life for a good solid 10 plus years.
Amazing. Zeph, swinging it over to you. Want to talk about your history?
Yes, sir. So I first was introduced to Franciscan University. My mom, I think she pulled up some article on EWTN, and it showed a picture of like these two kind of like, I think, chubby guys wrestling, and I saw like a picture of someone with the cape on, and I was just like, oh no, like I'm not interested in this. But my mom, she was like, well, hey, listen, I'll give you a couple of days off school. I'll convince one of your good friends. I talked to his mom. She's going to send him down with you. You guys can just kind of go hang out, fly across the country. I was like, okay, that sounds all right. So she convinced me to go on a college visit. So I went. I didn't know anything really about the soccer program there. I knew they had a team. I think we knew at that point, Christian, I think we knew that we were going to be in a preliminary D3 year. And I, at that point, like, to be honest with you, which is crazy with how focused and aware we are as a program now of what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish, what conference we're in, like who are the main players in the NCAA tournament. Back then, man, it was just like, sweet, soccer, like, I'm going to go play some soccer. I'm going to fight hard, figure out, figure out who the bros are, who I need to take down, whose legs I need to break, that sort of thing. And yeah, we just showed up and played, but I had no idea, who was coming in. I had met a couple of the guys who ended up being on the team. One guy I met was Gary Klump. I actually roomed with Gary Klump, who was like a junior on the team, a guy I really appreciate. I've kind of lost touch with him since, but Gary, if you ever watch this, what's up, man? And he let me stay in his room for a free pizza. I don't know if that's still a thing at Franciscan, but he literally was like, hey man, you can sleep on the floor. I got this free pizza and I got to get out of here. So have a good night, and just like rolled out. So that was like my experience of like the first guy on the soccer team. I ended up sitting down with him later. I think we watched a Liverpool game in the Francis Hall common area. I didn't end up playing with anybody, but I got a feel after meeting 2 or 3 guys on campus on my overnight visit. I got a feel for the team and got a feel, for the fact that there was just normal dudes who loved the game, and that made an impression on me. And as a result of going to Mass, seeing the campus, experiencing some of the people, I also ended up hanging out with some guys who I was ultimately in household with that night. Like, it just convinced me to come. I hadn't had an experience like that before. So yeah, fast forward, getting to campus early. Preseason, it's when I met all these guys. It's when I met Christian, Mike Ray, Matt Taylor, some of the guys who were in our class. With Horatio Gonzalez, I think Justin Sofio, who's still in town, he was in that class as well. Yeah, it was just a great experience of kind of like having absolutely no idea what we were coming into, really having no recruiting whatsoever to speak of for me, but then just very quickly developing some relationships that became really important to me in terms of friendships. And then realizing that we actually had a really good team. Like we had a number of individual players that just kind of worked together. I think at that year we really could field a team of maybe 13, 14 really competitive players. And so that was a ton of fun to feel like the level was comparable in terms of skill and just the level of play that I was used to playing at in high school at a high level in Nebraska. And then the physicality was obviously, it was increased. You're playing against, coming in as a freshman, and you're playing against grown men, so that was also like an enjoyable challenge, to kind of grow into that. But yeah, that's my history coming into the program. So
that's so cool. I mean, I love hearing that. There's something I wanted to ask really quick too. So so if I'm understanding this right, your guys' first year coming in together, that was the first preliminary D3 soccer year. So you guys were automatically in the tournament, or not tournament, but the NCAA that year is what you're saying.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. So preliminary meant like, we're going to test your school out to make sure you can field a team, that it's going to be like, you're going to be an NCAA team, So we were part of the AMCC, but we couldn't go to any playoff games. We couldn't win any awards. So it was kind of just, It was like a test year basically. And, yeah, so it wasn't, and actually that's why I got to play 5 years, because it didn't count for a year of eligibility.
Got it. So that second year you guys played was your first year in the NCAA. So do you guys remember your record from that year? Did you guys do well their first year in the D3?
Yeah, I don't remember our record. I feel like we may have, it wasn't, we weren't like losing every game, but I feel like maybe we won 6 or 7 games. And I think with our core group, like I said, Coach Zeph, that's funny. With Zeph and I, we had some strong friendships and some like Coach Zeph said, some great players, and I think our record kind of increased like almost like a game each year. I think our highest we were like 9-7, 9-8. Yeah. But we never made it to the playoffs or anything like that while we were there. And we had to deal with some things as players. We really kind of took the team like under our wing almost. I think I had 4 different coaches in 5 years.
Wow.
The university was getting used to NCAA sports. Like there was a lot of things that needed to be done as far as even like playing fields and organization and stuff like that. And us players, we just wanted to play, and we were really tight off the field too. And so it was a fun opportunity to be like, we're the first ones, and and we had some amazing moments, amazing games, amazing goals. I know Zeph, I can remember one particular, and it was just fun to be like almost pioneers in a way. And like I said, kind of doing it in a way on our own. So
Wow. I
That's
kind of want
awesome.
to, yeah, I want to dive into that too. Juan, do you want to ask any quick questions here, kind of about that?
Wait, so what year was that? And I know you don't want to give away your age, but hopefully no one's got the calculator out.
Can't see my grays, but
Fine wine.
I
Looking
think it
good,
was
bro. You're looking good.
2006, right, Zeph? Is that right?
Yeah, that's what we came in the fall of 2006. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that was
Yeah, and I don't know,
preliminary
I'm
year
remembering
06,
things.
first year
I feel like
NCAA.
weren't we still like in a probationary? Like I feel like all through all 4 years that we were there, maybe except for our senior year, there we were still like, I think we were still in a probationary period where in 2011 that was the first year that we could legitimately get into the NCAA tournament. Should we be able to qualify? I might be wrong about that.
Yeah.
I gotta check with my stats guy here, Kenny. You gotta have that record from 2006 pulled up. Like here you go. You guys were 9-8 or whatever. But no, I'm just joking. I could be remember that wrong. That's another really funny thing. It's like, I mean, Christian, you sent some pictures, of the team. Like there were guys who would stop in and take some photographs every once in a while. I think they kept our stats, but they were definitely not perfect. Like I know I'm missing some goals on my stat sheet, from a couple years ago as Christian.
Man.
Zeph got 22 in one
But
season.
listen, like what guys get these days in terms of like video footage and like film review, it's incredible. Like, and I don't know, even I'm no longer a player, but even now as a coach, like being able to see the progression, particularly of how like Franciscan, like our university has invested in resources to allow like, our guys on the team to get better. I'm not salty about it at all. Like we were where we were and we freaking we loved our team, and we loved our home field and we loved the university, everything about it. Like I'm super thankful for that experience. I wouldn't change it, but it just makes me smirk at how absolutely different it was, where it's like you guys are asking about the history and it's like I think it only exists like subjectively like in our heads. It was like, dude, I was so good. I think I had 16 goals in 2006. Like your stat sheet shows like 6 goals, man. I was like, well, I think that's the stats there, But it really was. It was like the Wild West. Like people weren't. We just didn't have the same level of consistency, resources, footage, media, huddle film type stuff. So it's come a long way. But they were the glory days. A lot different. Grass fields.
Yeah.
So
if you guys think about it, really, if you guys didn't play well E2 during those seasons, maybe we're not in D3. Maybe we're not getting to these tournaments. Who knows? You know what I mean? So I mean,
No, that's absolutely true. I mean, and I think it's a credit even to the guys that came before us who started this club team, like Mike Lefevre, Mike Kent, like these guys that were a part of like club, and they're not winning anything. I think they had like a Steubenville Cup that they made up that like they played some community colleges and like they won every year, and stuff. But they always showed up, and there's something about like the spirit of that team that I think, I mean, honestly lived on and yeah, and there was a lot of like growing up, and I think it's a credit to guys just showing up and the spirit of Franciscan kind of like bleeding through, So that's a really important point I think you said, Kenny, is that the guys before us, I don't think it really would be. I mean, there's potential we wouldn't have soccer, if guys weren't there, So I think that's a really important point to point out the guys that came even before us,
Wow, that's incredible.
And I sent you some pictures. There's some pretty amazing ones.
Yeah, I'll definitely during the talk here, I'm going to be throwing up pictures of just like randomly throughout. This was awesome. I was going to say, do you guys know what exact year that the club started for Franciscan?
It was funny when I was coaching there. I would have like random alumni contact me and be like, "We had this team," and it was like super long ago, and I'm not quite sure when it was, but they had like international guys coming in and like studying for the priesthood, but then like playing and like all this kind of crazy stuff. So I think it was. I'm not quite sure, but it had been going on for quite some time. Probably a little bit on and off, as far as numbers go.
Oh.
Steph, do you know?
I'll take it even further and say I have absolutely no idea. I have absolutely no idea.
I'll
I
do
know,
my stats.
know
I'll
that
pull
the
it up on
guys-
the screen. I'll put it right in the
Yeah,
middle.
stats, Kenny. Yeah, I mean at least 3 years. That's like at least 3 years, and it could be as many as like 40. I don't know. I really don't know. But
Wow.
yeah.
That's incredible. So I wanted to actually transition this over. Obviously, you guys were players there, but there was a period of time you guys were also coaches there. So I kind of want to see from that point on, obviously leaving Franciscan for a few years. Zeph, you weren't in any coaching position in that 4 year that Christian was there. Were you in that gap? No, it was just when Christian came back.
That's right. Yep. Yeah. No coaching for me. Yep.
Okay.
In the gap.
Gotcha. So I just want to take it from that first year coming in. How did that happen? Did the school reach out to you? Did you reach out to the school? I'm curious about, obviously you're saying there's a lot of coaching switches going around. Before then, you're dealing with a couple of coaches, 4 or 5 coaches you're saying during your time playing there. Obviously the school's reaching out to you. That's a risk because you don't know, if you've dealt with only seeing so many coaches rotate, you don't know what the risk is there. So Christian, talk me through how the school either reached out or that story about how you became the coach of the team.
Sure. Yeah. So after graduating, I was lucky enough to land a teaching job in Louisiana. It's called St. Paul's School in Covington, and just so happened I knew a guy that was working there as well, and he actually was from Franciscan. His name's Tommy Leahy, and he helped out at the soccer program. And he was telling me, look, it's a great school. It's all boys school. We need a theology teacher, and we got a pretty good soccer program. And I think that was an understatement. In fact, like they had a really great soccer program. While I was coaching there, I think we actually were number 1 in the nation at one point, and we won, like, we're undefeated, ranked number 1 in the nation. Guys playing, D1 and all this kind of stuff. And so I'd always had a passion for soccer and coaching. In fact, when I was playing at Franciscan, I was coaching at a local club there. And so I had some coaching experience. And then after college, continued coaching at this, awesome high school. Shout out to Coach Moser, who's still there. And then I also was coaching club on the side. So, like, coaching and teaching were a big part of those 4 years for me, and I learned a ton, and they kind of went hand in hand. And so anyway, an opportunity at Franciscan happened. I did get a call. It wasn't necessarily just about the soccer team. It was actually to help out with, it's called the Freshman Success Program, as well as the Austria program. And he kind of worded it like, hey, I need some help with these 2 things, but we could also use some help with the soccer team. And so I told my girlfriend at the time, now wife, I said, I think I would only go back up if I get my master's, do these things, but also like continue coaching. And sure enough, it all worked out. But I wasn't the head coach right away. I was an assistant coach. And Coach Ward was there, and he had been like a centerpiece of that program, kind of like D3 Mighty Ducks. Who's that? The older guy. I can't remember his name. Not Coach Bombay, but the other guy. That was Coach Ward. I mean, it's a heart of gold, great guy. And so I was excited to help him out. And I think Coach Zeph was coming to Franciscan around the same time. And then after just a year, he stepped down, and they offered me the opportunity to coach, which was, to be honest with you, like a dream come true. And it was like going back to, when I was playing there, a student there, we'd be making the Franciscan University team on FIFA, like to the T, and it was like, this is incredible, and it wasn't just like playing games. I felt like I had an opportunity to serve and kind of give what I had learned, being around some really good soccer and had played some pretty competitive soccer growing up as well. So, I saw the team and I saw the potential, and I was just like chomping at the bit, because I just knew they just needed a little bit to be pushed. They needed a little bit more structure and some organization and honestly some consistency. And it was truly like a dream come true. And we kind of hit the ground running. I can keep going on and on. I remember my first practice, and I did this drill, and it was called like fire drill or whatever. And I rolled the ball, and the guys are just going at it, and I'm like, man, there's like a fire here. And there's always been like super, I think, really talented guys that just kind of showed up at Franciscan, but there's a fire and passion And I think these guys really, just desired to be pushed, and I think that's in really with all men in general. And so it was an honor to be there at that time and kind of take the reins over and add a little consistency.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that kind of the same way? Is this Christian reaching out to you? Are you in the Steubenville area at this time? How did you get involved in the situation as well?
So I started my career as a nurse. Graduated from Franciscan with the BSN. Practiced nursing for about 10 years. I was doing travel nursing right around the time that Christian was helping out. So Christian, I think you might have been there either a full year before me, or we showed up at the same time, and I showed up as like in a total volunteer kind of status. Like, hey, I knew Christian was in town, super pumped about getting involved with the program, just doing whatever I could. I think I handled just a lot of the conditioning. I was like, hey, I can do conditioning. Like, I can still run with these guys, and like we will be in shape, if you let me help out with conditioning. And so that was kind of just my pitch. And at that point in time, like, Ward, I think, was just like, sure, like come help out. And then year two, Christian was offered the head coaching position, which was super exciting. Obviously just excited for my good friend who I played with for 4 years. By the way, Christian, I remember when you got the call and the job offer for St. Paul. We were at my bachelor party, and we were in a white Suburbosaurus. Christian, the Bobek family has had this old Suburban from like 1950 that should have died like 10 years before it actually did. And anyways, it's just a cool memory when you were bringing that up. I was in the car with you, and you're like, dude, I just got a job offer to coach and teach at St. Paul's. And it was like, congrats, man, that's awesome. I remember that. And then 4 years later, it was coincidental for me that I ended up taking a travel contract in the Pittsburgh area in the fall. And just as a byproduct of that primary pursuit, just kind of dancing around the country, wherever I could find a good travel contract with my wife at the time. I just so happened to be able to be in Steubenville. Some other good friends were in the area. I think I was living at a professor's house for 3 months who was in Austria or on sabbatical or something like that. So it was this real random, just like piece it in, fit it in. I don't know how long I'm going to be here for. But then I decided to come back the next year because I had that same opportunity for a travel contract. It really was the opportunity to coach that brought me back. In particular, the opportunity to coach with Christian. I think that first year, Christian, when we were volunteering, we were surveying. I think we both knew Ward. We were coached by him as an assistant coach, and I think we had a good team dynamic with him. And he's a lovely human being. God rest his soul. He passed away a couple years back, but he really loved the soccer program, and a lot of guys really loved Coach Ward. A lot of the older guys. During that time, I think Christian and I were both pretty hungry, each from our own perspectives, and then we kind of joined up together to try to make the program better. The history of it, without saying anything insulting to anyone, was we were coming in, to help coach. The prior year, I think there was either 1 win or 0 wins for the program. Wow. And that's tough. And for you guys, anyone who's listening, I'm not trying to throw any shade at you, because the guys who lived through that kind of period at Franciscan, playing 2012 to 2015, they have one of the tightest bonds of any group of guys to go through. They're the guys who show up most consistently for alumni games. They come together as a pack. And so that's just a testament to what Christian said, that the friendships are super, super important and authentic, those faith-filled fraternal friendships. And that group of guys is really, I think, evidence in a unique way of that, because they were not having competitive success in the game of soccer. And it was very frustrating from that standpoint for a number of them, especially the leaders on the team. Christian and I kind of came in, and we had, we were coaching and trying to help those guys become leaders and step into a more structured program with more leadership and more, a more competitive spirit in their senior year. And it was just, I'm super thankful for that opportunity. It's just kind of, you just hit the ground running and do what you can with those guys. They work super hard that first year. But when Christian, I think Christian had the reins as the head coach, but, asked me to come back as his assistant, I was elated. super excited. And I feel like both of us at that point really believed that we had permission to just kind of like the gate is open and we can get out and run. Now it's just like it's ours to throw it away. We're not going to let that happen. Like it was kind of like an over my dead body mentality. Like we are going to be good at soccer and we're going to perpetuate the culture that we love. You know, we still keep up with many of the guys, you know, who were on the team at that point in time. I keep up with some guys a lot more than others, but I could pick it back up with almost anybody that I played with at that point. And so I feel like too, we were, because of a lot of the transition and the hardship and the inconsistency, that was really nobody's fault. It was, you know, we had coaches come and go. There were changes in our athletic department. There was a lot of growing pains that were happening that ended up being really good things for the future of the program, but sometimes they were difficult to undergo in the middle of the season. All of those things, like what we believe that we could do is, despite those challenges, we could provide consistency in a competitive soccer program and a strong fraternal brothership. And so that was super exciting. And that didn't take any time to grow that. Like that was planted and it was there for us as players. Christian and I were captains together on the team for 2 years. And I agree with you, Christian, you know, wherever we could, we really, and you in particular, you know, really owned that position as captain. You know, I had a lot of extracurricular stuff going on. The nursing program was tough. My senior year, I wasn't around as much, you know, playing even as a captain. But we were always committed and invested together. And absolutely, we're guys who are just like, listen, like I'll step up. Like I want to step up. I want to lead the team as a player. You know, that's always been Christian. You know, invested from day one, even as freshmen, in terms of being on the team, want to be competitive. So it was just a super cool opportunity and a gift to be able to come at the same time, almost totally accidentally, you know, and to be able to start coaching together, you know, and then you can, you know, pull the record up, and not that the record's everything. You know, the relationships mean a lot more, but like we were able to take the program and grow it and improve it every single year from the year that we were able to take over. You know, all the way through. And I don't really think the program has ever looked back, truly, you know, since, what was that, 2015, Christian, 2016. We had a really tough year with COVID, you know, weird spring season where we went 500, and that was just a really, really hard year. But again, we kind of fought through that, you know, and you know, kind of ushered in or you know, beckoned in a new head coach, which is Brent Ridnour. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about him at some point, you know, but yeah, just super. I'm so proud, you know, to be a part of a program that has had consistency and value and has offered good things to the coaching staff and good things to the players for really since I've been involved. And like, that's something that in my mind is indisputable. You know, it's not perfect, but really, really proud to have been a part of that, you know, especially in those early years in a particular way. Because it was just like, hey, the reins are yours. Like, you know, do what you will. So,
yeah. So you guys kind of talked about, you know, how you guys got into playing here and then into coaching. And I'm like really curious on what's some of your favorite memories, one as a player and then as well as a coach, and then maybe together or like individual stats or favorite memories. I know you guys probably have a few, but
We're looking for the nice
I don't know
stories.
yeah, so like the coolest goal or I don't know.
Well, I can start. I'll start with playing. There's a school called Medaille College who actually doesn't exist anymore, but they were right next door of me growing up. And when I went to the high school, I mean, it was like right there, and they had a pretty solid soccer program. And I talked to the coach, I mean, almost every day. Coach K, if you're listening, I know that he's at another college now. But anyways, you know, he really wanted me to go, but you know, again, I went to Franciscan, and then we ended up being in the same conference. And I mean, they were solid. They had an established program, and they knocked our socks off like every year. But the last year that I was there, my 5th year, we had some really great players: Steve Duran, Pat Mahon, like these kind of guys that I just want to throw their names out there. We went in, and they came into Franciscan, riding, I think, a 5-year undefeated streak in the conference, and they're ranked top 20, and we beat them. And it was just kind of like icing on the cake. And we won 2-1, and I had, you know, both assists. I actually had to leave the game to go to the hospital because I separated my groin, but whatever, you know, second half. And I remember like being in the hospital, and I was getting like texts I felt like I was like in that movie, what's it called? Remember the Titans, and like they win, and he's just like, yeah, So that was, I'll never forget that, just because it was a personal, I guess win for me, kind of beating that team, and but to be honest with you, like most of my favorite memories are with the, I guess it sounds a little bit cheesy, but with the guys that we bonded with. We were again at our infancy as far as a program, and I remember we had to just to have money for uniforms and like literally gas to get from one place to another. We had to go and work Pittsburgh Steelers games security, and like we would go. I mean, we would have a game on Saturday, super far away in Buffalo. Come back, it would be like 2 in the morning. We had to get there at like 7 a.m. to a Steelers game to be security, like the guys in the yellow coats, and like everyone had to do it, and then just like we had some crazy moments. I met John Madden and all these like just some moments that you got to share together as brothers, and again, these are still my best friends to this day. And I should say this 100%. I met my wife on the soccer field as well. She was she played on the women's team, and the boys helped me introduce, or I guess have us introduced. So there's just some memories that come to mind, but there's so many. Another one that was really cool. We got to play. We got to go to a jail, like a really like high security jail, and play a prison team, and it was like a prison ministry. Our whole team went, and we went, and they set it up, and we thought we were just gonna like play like 20 guys or whatever, but we were still like a little bit nervous, and we went in. We had a connection, and we walk in, and it was like they ring the bell, and like the whole prison is around our field, and we're just like, okay. They're like cat calling us, all this crazy stuff. It was wild, and we were like, I mean, that was probably the most nervous I've ever been for a game, and I think we only won like 1-0 or something like that, because we were just like, we didn't want to like slide tackle hard or anything. But it was really cool. I remember, and obviously Franciscans known, to pray with the team after, the game, and they warned us like, we don't want you to congregate, at that time, but we still did it, and the comments and I guess from the guys who were there, the inmates, of just how impactful that was just like really. I actually wrote about that on like my first job interview. Like that was one of the most impactful things, still is to this day, that I was a part of, and I think that's what Franciscan's all about. Yes, I'm so thrilled where like we're winning now. It's like it's so fulfilling for me. This is where I envisioned the program being, and but it goes further than that. Like we hope to change lives, by how we play and what we're all about, and so that was just a couple memories that just come off the top of my mind.
How many cards were given out in that game? It gets very physical.
It did. Like they honestly, like some of these guys were some serious athletes, like fast, and maybe didn't have the best touch. There's a few like some international guys that were really good, but
yeah.
They were playing. It was not like a gimme game at all, but super memorable, and I mean the toughest crowd I've ever played against for sure.
It sounds like the movie The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. Yeah. You guys lived that. That's awesome.
They actually made that. That script was scripted after our.
Adam played Christian.
Yeah.
Yep.
How about you, Zach?
Yeah.
I don't
it's funny.
Be playing first, then coaching, because I got a couple on coaching too. But I guess we'll go playing first then.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's probably selfish of me, but like I remember like goals and assists that I scored. I remember a couple, goals that Christian put away. Some couple big wins. I mean, I just like, as a player, I was super competitive, and like. That's just what it was. Like I fouled a lot, I know Brent's gonna watch this and he's gonna be like, "Yep, yes, I bet you did," because I just I played hard and I wanted to win. We wanted to win together, and so I remember like particular games. I remember winning against one cool thing I remember is this kind of a cool summary that connects coaching with playing. Is we played Washington Jefferson. We were in the AMCC at that point, so we were playing W&J, so it was a non-conference game. W&J is a pass team. We were playing at their place, and we won 2-1. And I scored a goal, and Christian scored a goal, and I think like you assisted me, Christian, and something you had an assist in the goal, and I had the game-winning goal or something like that. I remember I put another one away, got called offsides. Total trash call. I was totally on, but the next time we beat Washington and Jefferson was actually we were coaching, and Michael Bobak and JP Bobak scored. It was the same score line. It was 2-1. We won. It was the first time we won against them. We'd lost like 7 or 8 straight years to Washington Jefferson, and we finally beat them. And it was Christian's brothers who scored and assisted each other, to usher in the next win. So I just remember like covering that as like a super cool, almost like stats moment. But I remember those goals. I remember a couple game winners. My I didn't meet my wife, playing soccer, but she used to do this really corny thing where it's like if I had like a really good game, she'd run onto the field and kind of jump, do the jump kiss smooch thing, and I was just like, come on, babe. So that was, those are the moments that I remember. And then for me, it's mostly it's the small things. Like it's like it's rustling dudes in the back of a van, while Coach Ward is in heavy traffic, like losing his mind, like the nicest guy in the world. For that guy to break, to like psychologically break and to lose it. We had like pushed him pretty far to do that. I think someone had like a seatbelt wrapped around their neck and was being like strangled or something like that. I had a Andrew Straub. I'm pretty sure I had him wedged like down into the side, seat in the back seat of one of those vans. We used to drive those vans everywhere. I mean, we literally have like full out wrestling matches in these 16 passenger vans, like on the way to and from games. I don't know, that was just a ton of fun. Not to talk about Straub again, but I kind of have to. Christian had mentioned that these are some guys who are in the class, I think 2 classes down ahead of us, Pat Mahan, Steve Duran. Christian mentioned those 2 guys left Straub out because Straub's probably like a 4 out of 10 player. Those guys are probably like 7, 8 out of 10, maybe higher. Yeah, Straub, he's good, but one of the things, that I have against him is he chipped his tooth pretty bad. I think it was his junior year. We were seniors, and he chipped his front tooth and split it like right in half. And just didn't have like the money or the organization or whatever to get to a dentist for the entire rest of the season. So he just played with a straight chipped front tooth. Like half of his tooth was just gone. And he grew his hair out into this nasty mullet, and we called him Snaggletooth. And he kind of just took on like just a legendary presence of his own like that year. And I just remember kind of being in awe, of Snaggletooth, Andrew Straub. So, those are it. I mean, it might be a stupid memory, but like that is honestly like that is what I think of in a really endearing way as a player. Just like I think of these, moments where we had big victories or really competitive games, particularly with our group of guys, our junior and senior year where we were captains, kind of warming the team up, taking responsibility for those big games and the wins. And then I just remember characters. I remember individual personalities. Just joking around. So
that's great. And before we hop into the coaching side and those stories, I just want to say from my perspective too, like when you guys talk about the brotherhood and the wrestling matches and the things like that with the team, it's just so incredible because like I can even relate to that a little bit. I didn't ever play for the team, but I was a manager for the team, and my random roommate freshman year was a backup goalkeeper, Jax Mautone. And I ended up just going to some of the practices, and basically the team took me under their wing for just, hanging out with them so much. And just being around those guys, that brotherhood, the bond that they have, even now, I'm so glad to hear that it was like that in the past as well. Cause it's like, hearing that, it's like, okay, this isn't just like a fluke 1 year, 4 year thing. This is like a thing that consistently happens year after year after year. And that won't stop. And you can see that this is, the team, the bond that it's going. It's like, you can be a good team on the field, but how you act outside of that, like, are you guys actually a team outside of the field? And to know that, this history of the team has been like that and will continue to be like that just, warms my heart to be sappy. But anyways, just want to get that through there. No, I want to go back to Christian here too. Just your coaching, some great memories maybe you had while coaching.
Sure. I mean, there's so many, and I really just want to give a shout out to all the players that just really had the honor to coach. We went from a 1-win team to, I think we won 10 wins, and then the next year was 11, then 12, then 13. So we won consistently, more each year, which is, like respectable, things each year, respectable records, I should say. But it really was, one of my favorite moments, I think, was that first year. We had someone actually, gave me the sheet of paper at practice, and it was a scouting report on us from another team. I'll leave the team out. But someone found it they were watching one of our games, and they said, we know Franciscan used to be this, but don't sleep on this team. This team is going to play for, the whole game. Don't sleep on this team, and then watch Leo Herman, who was, of course, our All-American at the time. And sure enough, it was a team we never beat. We played them, that Saturday. And, we took them to overtime, and we won in overtime for the first time. And I have this picture, and, I think Joe Duran's like pointing to the sky. And it was just, it was a moment where I think encapsulated, the 4 years that I was there, which was, I think, our team was resilient, and I think, there was a lot of, things, like we try to shield them from some stuff at Franciscan that, again, trying to figure out, like there are times where our field wasn't mowed, and we have a team coming from 5 hours away, and we're like, we need, like it's game day, like, just like little things like that. And the boys still showed up, and they didn't just show up, like they really raised the bar, and we try to raise the bar with, even more, and as well as support them. And so that, makes me incredibly happy. And so if I were to describe, the teams I was able to coach in one word, it'd be resilient. And even the coaches, that I was able to coach with, Coach Zeff, for example, he was on a crazy nurse schedule, and he would be flying in from whoever knows where to make a game, and we had, Coach Rhodey at the time. We had a few other coaches that were helping out, and they would give a lot, to the program. But in turn, I really don't want to leave out the players, because they really gave a lot. We started implementing a physical benchmark test, which, none of them hit it, I think, the first year. But it was like a new standard, and it raised the bar. And it wasn't, Coach Zeff and I both saw, we have tremendous talent, and we just this needs to be organized, and the standard needs to be higher. And it's amazing what you can accomplish when you have, that unique combination. As well, you add in, the values that Franciscan has, like the faith, it goes much deeper, and you can build an incredible team. I always thought Franciscan had this jewel on its hand, which was, the sports teams, that it could be really an awesome avenue for, seeing Jesus in the world, really, in virtue and how you play and how you act and how you conduct and this and that. And, so that's just one memory. We made a Sports Center top 10, which was just unheard of when we were there. Credit to Seb and JP Bobak for that goal. Unbelievable. We won our first playoff game, which was just so memorable. There's this picture, and I want you to show it this. It was kind of a rainy day, and we won, and the whole team is doing this slide, and just all in the dirt and in the mud. It was just such an awesome moment, just hitting these things that we've never done before as a program, year after year. And it was, again, due to those boys showing up and their resiliency, no matter what, and as well as the coaches. And so I'm just, thankful and honored to be a part of it. There's I can go into every single player. I feel like I have a story about, I know Nick Miller's there coaching right now. I remember his first goal. It was against a D2 team. He was a freshman, and we were playing, and he just was we got a penalty in the box, and I'm like, I'm going to let whoever take this take this shot. Sure enough, as a freshman, he picks it up, puts the ball down, shoots, scores. We won against his D2 team. Mark Firamani, we actually, Coach Zeff and I cut him the first year. He came back, and became the captain of our team and really like the soul of our team, like the hardest workers I've ever seen. Leo Herman became, an All-American due to his hard work. We had guys just like, really diving in, buying in, and I really just want to give them, so much credit. And it was just an honor to be a part of that. Again, feeling like pioneers in a way, and those are just some quick memories off the top of my head. And it was literally like a dream to think about like a new turf field, locker rooms, like. We were in the downstairs basketball locker rooms, barely getting by, but guys continue to show up, and there's a lot. I was a young guy too. There's a lot that I was learning as a coach and recruiting and that kind of thing, like doing those things and starting to do camps and ID camps and reaching out and there's just a lot of growth and all those memories. It's like I said, I think I have a story for every single player that I coached, that really was resilient, and it taught me a lot, and I was just honored to be a part of it.
How about you, Zeff?
Yeah, I think two focal points, and I just echo like Christian. Thanks, man. That's that's a great thing to focus on because that thinking back to the guys who really gave to the program. I feel like we were always trying to, chase a standard that we didn't quite know how exactly to get to or when it would arrive, but we were pushing towards it, And I think part of what made our guys resilient is they believed in the program. They believed that if we worked hard together, executed the game plan, like our brotherhood was strong. I think everyone knew that they believed that we could go. Do great things, potentially get into the tournament. I remember one of the years, you started to focus on which we do. It's incredible because it's kind of one of those things like all good things converge and to the same habits, right? Like all things that end up becoming good qualitative things, like oftentimes they share similar methods of getting there. So as soon as Brent, kind of got the head coach of Franciscan, I got to the program. On the first day, he's like, "Hey guys, this is who we are. This is what we're doing. This is our conference. Our goal is to win the NCAA tournament. This is who's in the tournament. This is statistically who's won the last 4 or 5 years." And we never had that. That was never a focus, I think, for us from the coaching staff as players. It was just kind of like next game, like we're just going to try to win, compete every game. And that was beautiful in its own right. But, when we were coaching, I remember you put together, a presentation one year when we were trying to raise the bar, and I think that might have been maybe the theme of that year. We're going to raise the bar. You showed up with basically like a presentation for the first time in preseason saying, this is the conference that we're in, this is our team, these are our statistics. Let me orient everyone to who we are and where we're trying to go. And I've just been more and more convicted watching a guy who's got 25 years of coaching experience that like we were on to the right scent. You know what I mean? Like we were starting to see the results come along. And I think just like a lot of these things that you spearheaded, Christian, we came about them organically just by wanting to be better, wanting to own the team more, wanting to take the next level. It's like, well, how do we compel these guys to compete harder and go the same direction as us, move together, buy in, believe that we can do it. How do we win the 2 key games that we've not been able to win? How do we win our first playoff game? Guys really, poured out their hearts trying to win some of those games and to push our program to the next level. And they were able to accomplish that. And again, that's just what we've been a part of. But I think without being too long-winded, retreats, that was one thing. We would go to Columbus, Ohio. We'd watch a crew game. We'd stay at a parish overnight in Columbus. Do you remember the priest's name, Christian, who would let us stay at his place? I can't remember. I'd love to shout him out. He's a good man. He'd run these retreats. He'd let us stay in our rectory. We'd play like a an epic game of, it's called Murder in the Dark. You remember that, Christian? Those games, man. It's like, it's basically Mafia, but it's also like, you know, hide and go seek. Like it's also a good shout out to the guys. It's like there was just like, we had a bunch of rowdy, wild, you know, young men, but like the fun that we were having and the fun that we were promoting on the team, like it was healthy, wholesome fun, you know, healthy, made and born from healthy, wholesome relationships within the context of guys being on the team with the goal, trying to get better. So we had a good blend of, you know, structure, you know, retreat talks. We brought in, you know, that priest helped us out. I remember my buddy, Father Greg, I think he came down and did a retreat or two for us, a Dominican priest. You know, we like drove him in or something, and he came and did a whole retreat for us. So those retreats really kicked off the season and kicked off the feel and the vibe of the season, and we really tried to galvanize around those retreats. And that tradition has continued today. We still have a retreat that's, you know, really impactful at the beginning of the season for, you know, for guys, and we've tried to keep that tradition alive. You know, and then another thing too that I remember is, and really just like a quick shout out, Chris, I hope you don't mind, like, you know, but to your family and to your dad, you know, in particular, to Marty, and, you know, and to your mom, Mary, and your siblings. I remember we'd go up to Buffalo because we were in the AMCC, and 2 or 3 of the teams we played were up in Buffalo, and the Bobacks would host us. And if they couldn't host us, or if we weren't staying overnight, well, then Marty would book us a whole private room. Marty Boback, shout out, you know, up in heaven, looking down. You know, we all know it. You know, he'd book us a whole private room at Anchor Bar, pay for our whole meal. If that wasn't available, you know, we'd go somewhere else. If they didn't have tables available for us, well, he'd go talk to the manager, you know, and say, hey, we got to move 4 or 5 tables together. Like, this is my son's team. This is my team. These guys all need to eat together. This is my pack. This is my crew. And, you know, just you can probably imagine, you know, for a team that didn't have many resources, to kind of be adopted by a family like that, to have a place to go. Like, I think Maura Boback cooked for us a couple times, made like an incredible brunch, you know, at least a couple times for us when we went down and stayed at your house in, what is it? What island do you live on, Christian?
Grand
in Buffalo?
Island.
Grand Island. That's right. Yeah. So, just some great memories of bonding and team building and kind of being adopted by the Boback family. You know, sitting around a fire with Marty Boback, you know, and just kind of talking shop with the guys. He was getting the guys on our team to just talk about themselves. What are your goals in life? You know, what do you want to do? Where are you from? Oh, cool. I was there at some point in the past, and you know, those things, like, they stick really strong for me, because those were, yeah, I don't know. You know how it is, like when you're in college and you can't get home all the time because you live across the country. A lot of guys shared that experience. So the Bobacks home, you know, for me personally, I know for a lot of the guys it was a place where we really bonded together, shared some really good meals, and knew that we were kind of in a particular way, like a part of a family. So I'm really still just really grateful for those, you know, those times that we had, and you know, the generosity of your family, Christian, but you as well, just kind of, you know, getting, you know, convincing your family or asking them to open up their home to us. But, you know, as players, your family would kind of take care of us. And then afterwards, when you were coaching, you know, probably all 4 years, just the amount of time that, you know, your parents would come down and watch the games, and then the amount of things that they would host when we were up that way, when we were in the AMCC, that was a real consistency throughout all 8 or 9 years that I was a part of the program, you know, Christian, when we were coaching together and playing together. So those are some of my favorite memories.
Yeah, you guys
as
actually
a
sharing.
player as well, but
Yeah, you guys actually sharing some of those memories. Like, I think Christian, you've already said it at least twice in this interview, but that word resilience. I remember as like my freshman year, I came in. It was like I think there's 5 pillars. It was like resilience, grit, I think faith, and then I forget the other 2. But I just remember like resilience and grit. Just something you always harped on. That, and then just being all in. And we had it on the back of our practice jerseys. Yeah, the words "all in," and it's like just that, and like, you know, that's talking about the culture on the team. I mean, my best friends still to this day. I met from the soccer team. I still live with 2, you know, alumni soccer players as well. That that's just really cool. And like, yes, some other memories. I remember we watched like film on Messiah. We didn't even play them, but Christian, you loved Messiah and the way they played, and we wanted to try to kind of mock them because they were one of the best teams in D3, and so which is like that just kind of was a memory that got brought up too, and the fact that we were able to play them at some point too was just sick, and it's just kind of like I don't know, like you guys sharing all these, like seeing like my experience as a player, but then also going to you guys is watching you guys play because my brother played with both of you for at least a few seasons, and I remember I would go ask Coach Ward if I could be the ball boy, and just like as a little kid and like watching you guys play, just being like a huge fan of Franciscan soccer. And then when I heard you guys were the coaches, when I would be going into college, I was just so excited, and I remember too going to Catholic soccer camp, which I forget which year. I want to say it was 2010 maybe. Where I think you guys were the players were the coaches, and I remember you guys there and just everyone. I don't think the team was like super super successful. I think if I remember like the season before that or something, but just everyone was super friendly. And I think too, and this might just be like a Catholic thing. Everyone comes from big families, but everyone did have that competitiveness. Everyone was bought in, and it still is like that now. It was like that when I was there, and just from the little bit when I saw this past season, it's still there. And so I think you guys, and like how Zeph was saying, Christian, your family too, just like really bought into the program. I mean, I was able to have 2 years of JP, and he's a phenomenal player too. So, I just want to like thank you guys for saying all that because it was like, getting sentimental and all these good memories come back for me as well. So,
Thanks, Mamigo. Thanks, Zeph.
Yeah, man.
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 I want to play off real quick what you just said there about Messiah. I remember when I took over the job and the head coach. I had to learn the landscape too. I mean, I kind of understood the conferences and that, but I'm like, I want to go to the best. And sure enough, Messiah College, they had won like I think 11 national championships, and there was a book called The Messiah Method that is literally just like how they roll. Like it's their culture, everything that they do. And it was like my Bible really of coaching, and sure enough, I got to meet the coach and all this stuff. And what was unique is, before we, while I was there, our motto was always play for an audience of one, and all these things that as I was reading the book, I'm like, whoa, like this is our, this is what we preach, and I didn't even realize that the coaches that we had probably took it from them as well, but they never said it. And so I'm like, I guess my goal was like, we're not going to be the soft Jesus team, like Messiah isn't the soft Jesus team, like they are highly competitive, yet they have like an incredible culture and purpose, and so, they we kind of mirrored them, and then it did come full circle, as you said, Juan Miguel, when, I think it was the year, my first year that I left, and they made it to the NCAA tournament, and they played Messiah, and I remember the boys texting me, and it was pretty incredible for me to see all that. But nowadays, like, it's just so awesome to see where the program's at, and this is kind of the expectation, and it's just it's an incredible thing for me to see. I guess now I'm kind of sitting in more of a fan's view, and again, thanks for doing this podcast because I can get a little bit more into it. But it's just really cool to see where we've been and where it's at now.
That's great. I mean, honestly, just having you guys here has been a blessing. Just in general, to learn and understand the program even more, for us to now share that along the way with further episodes, things like that, talking with people. To wrap it up, I just wanted to say like how incredible it is that about just the program itself, about the people involved, about the brotherhood, about the all the gears that make this program run. It's just incredible to see, because you think about it, like Zeph here technically is the only one still involved with the team, but then you look at all these people like Christian, your dad, that was just talked about for like Zeph brought up. I mean, you're talking about not trying to boast here, but Juan and I that are still technically involved in the program. You're seeing alumni that come back like Jax and Nick Miller, Leo, Jake. I mean, all these players that you guys have been involved with too, coming back to coach the program as well. Like, yes, the program is in great hands with Brent Ridenhour, and it's going to places that we all are excited to see. But again, like even Coach Brent has told me, like it didn't start with him. It started with the club team. It started with the guys who decided we want to do something different here at Franciscan. We want to be involved in sports. We want to, grow our brotherhood in a program together, kind of. And it started then, and it's just incredible to see that growth and to know now after talking with you guys that this didn't just start. This has been going on. This has been brewing for a long time. You're just now seeing the fruits of the labor, starting with Christian, basically your first year, that the year after year, win after win, and then growing out and now into kind of Brent. Just to see that has been incredible. The things you guys have done for the program has been great. Seeing it, you guys now still involved talking with us is amazing. I love it. I want to keep talking with you guys and all this. I would go on this whole rabbit hole, but we only have so much time in a day. So I want to just say thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you, being here with us to talk about this, talk about the program, talk about the guys, the brotherhood, everybody involved. Again, it's just incredible to see that if you buy into this program, if you buy into this team, you're not buying into a team, you're basically buying into a family, which is incredible to see. I mean, especially with, where we are now, where it was, from day one. So again, want to thank you guys for being here. I want to thank you guys for taking the time. I know you guys are super busy with all your other stuff that's going on. But again, thank you guys. Any last words here, Juan, you have for these guys, or guys you have for us? Great to be here with you guys.
Yeah, no, it's the same here. Just thank you guys I'm glad we finally got to this episode. This is one of the episodes I was really looking forward to. Just thank you guys for being here. Thank you for coaching me and helping me, when I was a player. And just still buying in, even though Christian, you're in Louisiana, Zeph is still around coaching, obviously, but, for still buying in. I think it goes a long way, maybe longer than we even can see it. So it's good for the guys that are still playing on the team. So thanks.
Hey, thank you guys so much. Like I said, it's an honor to be a part of this, what you guys are doing, and just to be able to share, to be honest with you. And it was always an honor and a dream to be a part of the program. And thanks again for the kind words, but it's all the guys that are around us. And like you said, you guys just doing this is another added element as the program grows, which is so exciting. And so I get to keep tabs on the program, especially through Coach Zeph, and as well as a few other players. They're like younger brothers of the brothers that I've coached, and so I'm super tied in, and but I'm just really grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah, just shout out to I have no idea who watches this. I wish you guys tremendous success. Kenny and Juan, and thanks for kicking this off as well. I think I'll take some time to get to a couple of the podcasts soon. I haven't watched any yet, and a big part of that is soccer season, and having 5 kids is my evenings and my time's pretty booked up. But I'm super appreciative that you guys are doing this. I think it's really important. It doesn't have to exist, but I think even this podcast is like a little bit part of the more. It's like, hey, when something's good, like you just want to be involved with it. You want to give more to it. So I see this as something like that. And if this is like a little bit of a microphone, where we can reach some people. I know parents are watching. Parents of active players. Hopefully some alumni are watching. Christian, I know you're not the only one, but just a shout out to the alumni. From me still being involved with the program, like I miss you guys. I have just only warm memories in my heart of playing, and I'm just so pumped to still be a part of it. And I don't think I'm the only one, but I definitely still I see the continuity of what was, and how it's really given the gift in the future, to what is right now. And it's not all about that, but it's just the whole thing has been good, and everyone has made a contribution, even if, you haven't thought about Franciscan soccer in a long time, or maybe what you can, contributed in terms of relationship, effort, things like that. Just a shout out to all the active players, recent alumni, older alumni, come back. Come see us if you can. I know budgets are a little tight right now, and a lot of you guys are spread all over the country with little kids of your own. But, in the spring, we're doing an alumni game. I'm personally committed to trying to make that better. along with the coaching staff and with guys who are helping out in town. So this year, I think we're having the alumni game in the evening under the lights, April 12th, I think. No, April 11th, which is a Friday night. And then on Saturday, y'all can come out and make fun of me and just absolutely destroy me in this game called golf. We're going to have a golf outing on Saturday, I think at 10 o'clock at Mountaineer Golf Course, which is in West Virginia, pretty close to where we're at right now. A lot of you guys I know, a lot of the recent alumni and coaches, they play there. A lot of alumni will know exactly where that's at. So we're going to try to pull out all the stops. If you can just get here, we would just love that so much. I would love it. I'd love to see, especially some of you older guys, if any of y'all are listening, just know that you're missed. And if at all possible, come back and hang out, and have a good weekend. Play again, pull a hammy, and then hobble around. You can drive the golf cart the next day. You're not going to be able to play because it's going to hurt pretty bad, but you can drive the golf cart. So.
Love it. I'll put it up on the screen, all those details, Zeph. So everybody, I'll put your email as well, or whatever's the best way to contact you, so that people who are watching can reach out, make sure everything's great there. But with that being said, guys, again, thank you so much for being here. We're so excited. Please keep in touch with us. We'd love to hear more about things when it comes up, and hopefully maybe next year, and we're coming up here in the next couple weeks or whatever happens again, we can maybe get you guys back on for a little bit more talk. But with that being said, again, thank you guys so much for being here. Can't wait to talk to you guys soon.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kenny. Much fun. Peace, Bubs.
Peace, guys.
Much love. Peace.
Alrighty, thank you again, Christian and Zeph, for being a part of that conversation. What an amazing opportunity to learn a little bit more about, the entire program, the past, the history. With that being said, that's basically it. That's all we have for this episode. I appreciate everybody tuning in, listening. Please like and subscribe. We love hearing from you guys. Obviously, it's in the off season right now, so there's more things to talk about. We want to hear what you guys want to learn about. If we want to talk about bringing in more people like Zeph and Christian, learn about the past, learn about what's coming in the future, bring on obviously Coach Ridenauer again, bring on anybody else that might be going to be there in the future, some staff and things like that. Looking forward to maybe even speaking with some people maybe in the PAC, just things coming up in the future that we're planning on that I think was really a lot of fun to do. So appreciate again everybody listening to this. Please share. We love passing along the information about who we are, getting the word out there. So thank you again. We'll talk to you guys soon, and blessings to you guys all. Peace.